Brooklyn get her the headphones so she can actually listen in.
I got them.
You got some?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, team, welcome back. And welcome to the show again.
Again.
Yes, sir. It's good to have you back. For real. Good to have you back. So glad you reached back out. Wait, no, I gotta do another show. I said, all right, cool. We got more comments. We got more content. So I'm happy about that. Well, I'm glad you're here, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad everything
I
worked
hear
out.
you guys talking.
Is that bad?
You on mute?
Yeah.
You hear us talking?
Check, check.
Yeah, I just heard myself, and it's.
Can you hear us again? Sis, if you hear us again. Can you hear us again? Well, it's probably a delay.
No, I can't,
No.
but I don't hear music either.
You don't hear music either?
Nope, I do hear you.
You hear me? I don't know why you're hearing me.
Should we go on?
Can you hear me?
Are we going off?
Oh. This is messed up. Why is that? Okay. Alright, let's get started. So pause the music.
Yeah, I'm. s-
And welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome back. It is me, your boy Rico No Suave. Oh man, I am super happy to be back with each and every one of you guys. Oh man, when I tell you, when it comes to 1 week of not being able to see you and you can't see me, of course I can't see you, but I can read you. I can read you well, exactly when you guys are participating on the Rico No Suave show, either live or just talking through the TV. I get the vibe. I get the vibe, everybody. So thank you guys so much for actually tuning in to the Rico No Suave show. Once again, it's good, it's good, it's good to be back. That's all I gotta say. It's just good to be back because I'm super happy like always. Everybody, we got a fun-filled packed show for you guys today, but you know, there's so many things that's been going on, and I have to give a big shout out to ATL. Atlanta, you guys, our Urban Short Film Festival was rocking it. It was so great to actually be on the red carpet as far as with each and every one of you guys. And hey, all I have to say is, everybody, I am super, super happy to actually be back. All right, everybody, we have to talk about what is May. May is Mental Health Awareness. Yes, and when we talk about mental health awareness, everyone, when we talk about things that happens within your lives, or there's people that's around you that happens in their lives, or there's things that happens in other people's lives, there's things that trickles down when it comes to mental health awareness as well. And when we're talking about how things are actually happening, you have to be able to either get help, get organized, or to be able to basically make sure that the trauma or anything that you're going through is basically going to help you guys out by either seeking for help but also being able to do activities to be able to help you as well too. So, so they're saying that my mic is off. Make sure that when I'm muted. Give us 1 second. Let's put up the mental health on a big screen there.
Does it sound like them?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't always tell.
Yeah, unmuted, right?
Yeah.
All right, hopefully you guys are able to hear me. Let's see if this actually comes back. If checking with my producers, see if you guys can actually hear me out there. So hopefully you'll be able to hear, hear me as well too. Let's see what my producers say.
I can hear it, but it still sounds like it's bad.
Yeah, we can.
So let me let's check real quick. Let's see exactly what's going on here as far as with mics itself. Give us 1 second.
Sounds like it's from the
People are saying they can hear. They're saying some people can hear fine, other people are saying you're a little echoey. Is it your gain? Is it too high? Yeah. But some people.
All right, if you guys can it's just weird because some of you guys can actually hear me and some of you guys cannot. Let's see if this is even better. So hopefully, I'm not for sure. I'm checking with my producers to make sure if you guys can hear. So hopefully you guys are able to hear me well. Okay. All right. So let's bring it back. All right. So yeah, hopefully you guys are all right. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me and say it sounds good. Okay. All right. No echo. Okay. Well, yeah, we do have we do have 2 mics, but of course we don't have the guest on. So just so you guys know, because my guest is is ready to go as far as mental health awareness too. This is what we do when it's time to actually get our party started, everybody. But thank you, Patty Escobar. She said it sounds good, no echo here. And then of course the producers are saying that everything is going well. All right, so I guess it's time for us to get back to the show, everybody. Hey, once again, it's me, your boy Rico No Suave, everybody. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out. Hey, I guess things happen when you're ready to have fun, but I gotta introduce this gentleman. He is back. He is back. The comedian is back. The corporate comedian is back. But there's other things that we're going to be talking about, and I'm so proud and I'm so happy because we had a chance to talk behind the scenes as well too. And when we're talking, we were talking about some really great things that's actually coming up. So I want you guys to put your hands together for another, because he's back, Chicago's very own. Put your hands together for Greg Schwem. Let's go. Greg, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Man,
it is great to be back. How long have you been away? You made it sound in the introduction like you were gone for years. I don't know.
You know, they make it feel like it's only been a week. You know,
Yeah, I know,
a week
exactly.
seems like a year sometimes. You know, and that's how it is. So you know, it's cool. So
it's been 2 years since we talked.
2 years,
A little over.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's
Glad
great to
you're
see.
doing well.
Thank you. Glad to see you doing well, sir, and hearing so many great things about you. So let's get right into it.
Sure.
Everybody, of course, you know my man Greg Schwem. We're gonna talk about how you got started as far as being a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. So comedy for me was just always it was always a hobby. Something I started doing in high school, believe it or not. And I never thought I would do comedy full time. I don't think any comedian ever thinks, oh, this is what I want to do. It's always sort of in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
It's something that maybe someday I would like to explore.
Yeah.
I was a journalist. I went to Northwestern University, studied journalism, became a journalist, became a newspaper, and then a television reporter. But there was always that pull. I was always, hanging out at comedy clubs at night after I'd filed my stories. And eventually I just decided, as I always tell people, I said, I always liked making people laugh more than depressing them.
Yeah.
And that really is what, unfortunately, a lot of journalism is, whether you think it's going to be that way or not. I mean, we live in somewhat of a depressing society sometimes, and there's a lot of bad news out there.
Yeah.
And the idea that I could finish a day in the newspaper or at the TV station, and then get on stage in a comedy club and just flip a switch and make people laugh, that was something that was just so invigorating to me that eventually I thought, well, why don't I do this full time? And that was a while ago, so I'm still doing it.
Being a comedian, and congratulations on that. So how many years have you been a comedian now?
I've been a comedian full time for 32 years.
Congratulations. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Congratulations on that. That's it's a long time.
It is. And like any career, particularly I think in show business, there are peaks and flows, and I think you're constantly having to reinvent yourself. And,
Yeah.
And I'm always looking to do that. I'm always looking what are people finding funny? What can I do to bring that laughter to people, whether of different generations and so forth? And that's really what drives me. That's the challenge, I think, of this job.
Yeah, and I think because being a comedian, everybody wants you to make them laugh, which is a passion
Yeah.
that we should have just in general in life, of making people laugh and enjoy themselves, but also being able to understand when times do get serious as well, and knowing how to adjust that.
Yeah.
I know sometimes the comedians and stuff like yourself will basically just go from, hey, how serious can I get? And then when I bring it back to people actually laughing,
Right.
I feel like that's an art, man. That is an art itself.
It is, and you kind of have to know boundaries too. You have to know what is going to make people laugh and what's going to upset them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live in a society now where I think people want to laugh more than ever, and yet we all seem to have our different ideas of what is acceptable to laugh at. And that's a challenge. That is a challenge, because I can't read everybody's mind. I can't like, this guy might think this is funny, but she might not, and therefore, and okay, thanks very much, everybody. I have nothing to say. Okay, you can't be like that. So there's a fine line all the time. But I feel like if I can get on stage and have something for everybody, then I've done my job.
Well, I think it's the theme, right? The theme behind what you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, being in the corporate arena, there's so many things to talk about in the corporate arena, such as office space and things like that, of what happens between employees, between managers, supervisors, and also just events that happens as far as in the corporate world in general.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what I've done. I mean, I started out as a club comedian, and I transitioned into doing primarily corporate events.
Yeah.
That's really what I've been doing for the past 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And, just like society changes, corporate America and how people work change. Obviously, COVID was a big part of that in terms of people working from home and people kind of setting their own schedules and so forth. And but there's humor in that. There's humor in the way people work, and I feel like it's a gold mine of material out there. And I love sort of prospecting that.
And I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing when it comes to being able to define as far as certain things within the corporate world that people know that I have a job that I have to go to, but knowing that this guy can actually make fun of it, but also being able to bring it together as well too, and knowing that that does happen to my job. There's a relation here.
Yeah, and I think that's really why it's good to have an outsider come in to a corporate event, because I see things from a different perspective.
Right.
And I think sometimes when you have a corporate event, the tendency is to bring in a lot of people from that same space, like consultants and people who are experts in that, and that's fine to a point.
Yeah.
I think that you really will get more out of your corporate meeting or something if you have somebody that comes and says, okay, honestly, I really don't know what you do. I've researched it for the past 30 minutes or an hour or a week. In
Right.
my case, it's a week or two.
Yeah.
And this is what I've come up with. And as long as you can do that in a humorous way without making it sound like what they do is not worthy or you're belittling them or something like that. And there's a very fine line. And there's a lot of humor speakers that unfortunately don't understand that.
Yeah.
And you have to, because I always look at my audience in the corporate sector and I'm like, I may not understand what they do, but this is their passion. This is their life's work. And I need to respect that. And I need to, I can have fun with them, but at the same time, I have to be very cognizant that this is their job.
Now, one thing is because I'm in IT, I can joke with the IT guys like that. I can really throw stuff out there. Like, when they come with you with a problem, it's not your fault, right?
Right. And I wouldn't get that. I wouldn't understand that. But I can come in just like I can look at your website and just go, okay, does anybody really have any idea what you wrote on this website here? Because I don't get it. And I'm guessing you probably can't explain it either. That's where the humor lies.
That's where the humor lies, yeah. See, I like to go, that's what I love about going deep into corporate, because there's so many different areas where you could go into, right? And people will relate to that. But, us working in the corporate world and me being an MC, that whole thing with IT, I'll just kill it every time. I'll kill it every time. So, it's good to have you back once again. And it's good that I'm glad that people know exactly why you got into this business, in this industry. And 32 years, man, that's legendary status.
It is. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that I never had to, stop doing what I was doing, take another job, anything like that. That's, I sometimes think when people say, oh, yeah, but you've never been on the Tonight Show or anything like that.
Right.
Well, no, I haven't, but I've supported my family and I think that, and I've never ever had to do anything else for a living. And I think that's making it. Show business.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing when it comes down to how people will know exactly how we should, basically come together as one to laugh about something that we all experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's really key. I think that's really key in general. So let's get to the next part. All right, so we're going to get to the next part, everybody, which is the book.
Sure, the book.
The book. So you came out, congratulations on you becoming an author, right? So we're going to display this on a screen here and, turning gut punches into punchlines.
Right.
And a comedian's journey through cancer, divorce, and other hilarious stuff. Wow. and it's so crazy that you actually have a suitcase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for all my problems. No, that's, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like when my graphic designer brought me that, I thought, oh, great, because I travel a lot, and now you brought that up, and I'm like, I'm just now realizing why he had this suitcase. It's like, we're gonna pack all of your issues into one suitcase. But I actually think it's not a big enough suitcase, certainly based on that title.
I definitely caught this as soon as I saw this when you sent it to me, and I was like, hey, this book actually just have something of travel. Let me get out of here, right? And when I thought about it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. So, with this being said, congratulations on this first book, but I want the world to know, talk about the synopsis of your book.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the title kind of says it all. I mean, and it was written over about an 18-month span when I was going through a divorce, a late-in-life divorce, and while I was doing that, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And while I was doing all of that, while all of that was going on, I was still on the road making people laugh and telling people, hey, you can all laugh at your problems and that kind of thing. And I realized I really never had to live that until now. I was busy telling other people it was okay, but now I had all of the stuff that had been laid on me.
Yeah.
And I first of all, I got a totally clean bill of health, and that's That's great.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm. They did an operation and
Thank
they
God.
took a large chunk of me out of me,
Mhm.
and all's good.
Yeah.
And I've since become very much a proponent for colon cancer research and so
Blessings.
forth,
Yeah.
and working with colon cancer foundations, and the divorce is just something that you have to laugh at that. Everybody goes through. Divorce is not funny,
Yep.
but it can be, and it's better if you can find things to laugh at. So
Yeah.
I was going to write a funny book about divorce, and then the diagnosis came, and I thought that kind of made the book take a turn a little bit.
Sure,
and,
sure.
and I thought, maybe there's something here. So, you mentioned Mental Health Month here,
Yep.
and really, this book is not for people to open and flip through my problems. It's not a woe is me. I came out on the other side. It's not that. I never wanted to be that. I wanted to write a book about kind of reinventing yourself maybe a little bit later in life, and also seeing that there's a lot of life left to live, and sort of immersing yourself in new experiences. And that's really what I did with the book. I took some side hustles. I drove for Uber. I sorted packages at Amazon. I took a job as a tour guide in Chicago, which I still do.
Yes,
I don't do the other ones.
Yes.
But why did I do that? I wanted to meet new people,
Yep.
and that helps my comedy too.
Yes, it
because you have to, as a comedian, you have to see what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And those things helped me do that. And then I wrote chapters about doing things that I never had to do before, like online dating. Now that I was divorced, I hadn't dated in 29 years.
Wow.
I went to therapy for the first time. Everybody goes to therapy now. It's not a scarlet letter. It's something that people do, but I think sometimes people are embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make people laugh at it and say it's okay. It's okay to put yourself out there.
Sure. First of all, congratulations in regards to your accomplishment, in regards to being able to talk about a piece of you coming, in regards to colon cancer, where people that actually are kind of going down that same path as you as well too, and being able to have a book that they can actually read, but also maybe chuckle about, right? Knowing that it's kind of something serious. And it's funny that you bring this up, because I did have, as an MC for weddings, my second wedding that I've done was a colon cancer survivor.
Really?
And what a happy guy.
Right.
What a happy guy. And I have to say, he definitely was a guy that was happy to live, but also he understood his passion in regards to making other people laugh around him. Right? Instead of feeling bad
Great
about
story.
it. That's awesome. But as a comedian for yourself, to be able to have that, within you, knowing you have that passion, and not just having content, but this is a journey.
It is
of
a
your
journey.
life.
Yeah, it is. And it's something, everybody's writing a book about themselves
Sure.
and so forth. We're all writing our memoirs, and we all think our life is so worth, everybody wants to read about our life. And again, that is not the book I wanted to write. I wanted to just reach out to people and just say, hey, everybody has gut punches, and it's how you deal with them, and how you come out on the other side. And I hope that people, if they're having some struggles in their lives or something, or if they know somebody, that they will pick up the book and see that it's not, there's a lot of very serious subjects out there that you can laugh at.
Yeah, and it's good to be able to have someone like yourself, because you're basically a role model for people to understand that in some cases it's not all that bad, but we understand how bad it could be. Right? And I think having that level of help from you, where you are that comedian, aka psychologist, aka therapist.
Right.
So
all in the first 50
it gets me
pages.
choked up every time. And what happens is that you are on stage talking to millions of people that may have went through what you've been through, but also just talking about the mental health awareness piece. So, and congratulations on that. Congratulations on it. So your book itself is on
It's
Amazon.
on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Goodreads. You could probably pick it up in Barnes and Noble. It's on all the channels, and
Yeah.
I've done some book readings at some independent bookstores, and
Okay.
and a lot of my corporate shows. I do book signings after that.
That's
And
awesome.
I love because it's a subject that people want to talk about.
Yes.
People will come up and they want it signed.
Yeah.
They want to tell me a little bit about their journey too,
Yes,
and
sir.
I would be able to listen to those all day long.
Let's
I
go.
want to listen. To
Yeah, and you have to, because it's not even, it's about not just listening to content or trying to get content, which is where the internet is.
Yeah.
If I talk to you about something, oh, that's content I can actually use on the internet. No, it's to sit down, talk the talk with each other,
Yeah.
and have it here as a memory
Yeah.
instead of having it a memory within the internet.
Mhm.
Right? And I think for you, I think because you have that, it's such a great thing to be able to have someone to be able to not just be a comedian, right? But just to sit down and be able to have that one-on-one conversation and just enjoy life.
To be a listener,
That's
I mean
right.
that's a big part of the book. There's a chapter called "Today I Will Be the World's Least Interesting Person," and what I meant by that is I want to. When you get divorced, all of a sudden it's very lonely time.
Sure.
For some people, it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
The loneliness, but you all of a sudden you had to find new people to talk to.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to anybody. I wanted to hear their stories, and I mean, as a comedian, it's very easy to be the most interesting person in the room.
Sure.
It is. We have a very cool job. There's no doubt. People are very intrigued with what comedians do.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I could talk about myself all day long, but I want to hear about you, and
Right.
and I especially want to hear about like younger generations. I mean,
Mm.
I walked into your studio tonight, and I'm looking around at everybody, and I'm like, I just want to sit and talk to all of them, and you're all in your 20s, your late 20s, early 30s, and so forth, and I'm fascinated with all of everybody who makes this show run, and I want to know their stories. I do, so I would love to do that. Yeah. But I unfortunately have to catch an Uber, so it'd be great, we'll do this another time. No, seriously.
I appreciate that, man. Well, congratulations on your book.
Thank
That's number one. Congratulations on your book, and time is always flying by fast when we're having fun as well too. So, in regards to the process of, and I know that we talked about your colon cancer piece, and how did you get to a point of knowing that since you had colon cancer, or you have colon cancer, what to laugh about, what to be happy about?
Yeah.
Because that's a mentality challenge, a mental challenge that a lot of people cannot go through.
Yeah.
So how did you personally overcome to know when to laugh, when to be happy?
I think I noticed the people around me, the nurses and the doctors, and I noticed that they could put on a happy face too, and it wasn't phony. These are people that were, when I was on the oncology floor of the hospital, and it's like, these should be very serious people, and they are, and yet I could hear them every now and then just kind of laughing among themselves, and I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you work at a place like this and be able to laugh? And I'm like, if you can do that, why can't I?
Right.
I mean, my physician, the surgeon, I remember he was explaining to me how he was going to remove this tumor, and it was kind of weird because it was sitting like right where my colon made a bend, and he's like, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to take that out. And I go, okay, so if it's right at the right angle, how do you reattach this to this? And he looks at me and he goes, that's why they pay me the big bucks. And I just broke. I'm like, I like this guy. And I thought, okay, this is a guy who does this all day long for people with far worse conditions than I have. And he has a sense of humor. And I'm like, well, if he can do that, then I should be able to do that too.
That's love, man.
And that's really kind of what started the whole thing.
That's awesome, man. I think that's just an instruction saying that, hey, or a sign that says everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. Why go in there being all sad and morose, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine to do that, but I think again, you got to look at when you're in a rough situation. You got to look around yourself. You got to
Right.
look outside yourself and say, you know, maybe my problems aren't that bad.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with the divorce.
Yeah.
I mean, because here's what I thought. Well, am I ever going to laugh again? You know, my world has been rocked here. And there was a point once when somebody called me and he said I'm just checking in on you. How's your health? How's your physical health?
Mm.
And I said, and it just came out. I said, it's great. I go, I walk to the liquor store every night. All right, and we both just started laughing. I didn't have that planned or anything, so we both just started laughing. I'm like, okay, write that one down,
Yeah.
and then maybe there's someplace else to go from here. And maybe there's humor in divorce too. So and the more you look for that, I think the better you're going to come out on the other side.
And you know, your friend probably walked past liquor stores thinking about you.
Probably, yeah. He could at least pick me up a 6-pack or something. I don't know.
All right, everybody, you already know before we get to a commercial break, I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Thank you guys so much. Man, thank you guys so much. Yes, we got a few people that's actually up in here right now. Patty Escobar. What up, Patty Escobar? We got John T. Free. You know Beatrice is actually in. Thank you so much, Beatrice. Yes, we will get to your questions as well. We got my man Sterlaris. How are you, Papa? ¿Cómo está? And then we have Donna Marie Bird checking in. She said, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good as far as the sound now. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys and the love. All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You are here with none other than my man Greg Schwem from Chicago. Yes, from Chicago. Chicago's very own, the corporate comedian and author, everyone. And it's me, Rico Suave, with everybody else in the crew. Everybody, we'll be back shortly, right off these commercial breaks. Let's go.
Are you looking for a fun new way to find interesting stories? Well, look no further. Welcome to No Strings Attached e-News. From lifestyle articles to news in the entertainment world, we are the premier e-news site to find informative articles on a variety of popular subjects. As our online magazine is always expanding, we know there's an article here for you on No Strings Attached e-News. Find out what's buzzing at nsaen.com.
All right, everybody, we are back, and yes, I hope you guys enjoy yourselves here on the Rico No Suave show. We are here with none other than my man, Greg Schwem. Greg, of course, you know we at the halfway mark already.
Unbelievable. This is like my therapy appointment. They go by so quickly. You know?
This is crazy. This is crazy.
And I'm doing all the talking, just like in therapy.
I just don't get it myself. I just don't get it myself. Okay, let's talk about, because as a comedian, you know, and there is the business side of the world, right? And now you're saying that comedians, now comedy is evolving in the business world now. How did you discover that? What research do you have to and also you're a witness, I'm sure, because you're in the corporate world. So
Exactly.
talk to us in regards to how that's evolving.
Well, I think let's start with comedy as a whole and how that's evolving.
Yeah.
And I think that COVID. It was interesting what COVID did. COVID, when we were all cooped up, and I know COVID seems worlds away, but things happened in COVID that we're still trying to deal with, and that we realize, okay, that we're just going to have to. This is just part of the way it is now.
Yeah.
And part of it, I think, was audiences. And I think during COVID, when we were all cooped up, all of our entertainment came from our phones. And so we were in charge of the entertainment. It was always, swipe left, I'm not entertained in these 5 seconds. So scroll down, swipe right, but find me something else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the restrictions lifted and we were back to live entertainment. And it was almost like audiences had to be retrained to be patient. Like you can't swipe a live performer.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait it out.
Yeah.
And it might not be hysterical right away, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. But like audiences, I think became way more involved. Felt like they wanted to be involved. Were more inclined to just yell stuff out, which is okay to an extent. It's still my show.
Sure,
I'm more than happy if there's an interruption, as long as we keep it maybe 1 or 2, because I have things I want to say too.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy on stage.
Yeah.
But I think, like things in kind of like crowd work has become very popular now. So comics going into the crowd, asking people about themselves and so forth. Some comedians, that's all they do.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, I think people they all say they want to laugh. We all say we're a fun company, we want to laugh. But there's also, it seems like there's an ever-growing list of topics that are off limits, and that list seems to keep getting bigger. And we have for that we have things like DEI and all that, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not here saying, well, I don't know why anybody wants to hire me at this point because none of you want to laugh at anything. We do want to laugh at things.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be very cognizant of audience members, where they are, their role in the company, and so forth. Maybe more so than I did 5 or 10 years ago, and I'm fine with that, Rico.
Sure.
I embrace that challenge, and because ultimately I think the business world wants to laugh and needs to laugh way more than they did maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I think the world is getting more serious, it's getting more confusing, and I guess I just don't understand why every corporate event doesn't take a step back and say, okay, for 1 hour, we're just going to cut loose and we're going to laugh. And then we're going to go back to all the serious discussions about how things like AI is impacting our world and so forth, which are discussions you have to have.
Yeah.
But I've never understood why corporate events say, oh no, we can't possibly take the time to laugh for an hour. We have too many serious things to do. And just like, why not? When is it not a good time to laugh?
COVID got me. Right.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. So when it comes down to how COVID has affected people where people were staying at home.
Yeah.
Part of the business is that now that there's certain things where people are remotely working and they're not really coming in the office as much now.
Right.
But now they're actually starting to, they're coming back maybe 2 days a week, or of course if you're in the health field, of course, or even in some cases IT as well, where you have to be in the office. And sometimes like finances, HR, they might have to come in the office a couple of weeks, a couple of days within a week.
Yeah.
How have you seen that when you're getting hired as to the difference of if you're in front of people, how you know their reaction if you know that they haven't seen their employees in quite some time and they're at this event? How was the reaction of that?
You hit it on the head in the fact that they haven't seen people for a while and they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. So right away, they're in a good mood.
Yeah.
Okay? They're in a good mood because for some people, I'm still doing events where it's the first event since COVID. It's the first time people have been together. And I stress that a lot in my shows about the idea of connection and networking and so forth. I have a daughter who works 3 days remote and 2 days in the office. And she says she loves being in the office. She loves interacting with other employees. And because we forgot how to do that. And it's sort of sad in a way, and you think, well, what do you mean we forgot how to talk to one another? That's so basic. We've been doing it all our lives.
Yeah.
We were until we weren't.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
And now we have to learn how to do it again. And that's a very slow process. You'd think it wouldn't be. You think, we all have that friend that we can get together with after 20 years apart and have a conversation just like that, like it was nothing.
Wow.
You wish corporate America could do that, but unfortunately it hasn't quite gone that way.
Yeah.
My job is to make that easier. Make that whole getting back together, being in the same room, reintroducing yourself. I'm making it easier because while you're doing that, I'm making you laugh at it.
Right.
And I just think that that's kind of the MO that I'm taking now in all of my shows.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit in regards to how does Greg Schwem get his jobs? How does he get hired?
Yeah.
Because being in the corporate business it's either you have corporate parties,
Right.
or engagement where there is departments that really need to get along with each other,
True.
right? And being a therapist, once again, as you are, right? And how does Greg Schwem get his gigs?
Yeah. There's several different paths, and this really hasn't changed over the course of my career. I am listed with a lot of speakers bureaus who have like maybe an entertainment arm, and people will call the speakers bureau and say, okay, we've got a 3-day meeting and we've got 3 keynote slots, and we want one to be the AI expert, and we need somebody maybe from the media to talk about the role that the media is playing and so forth. But then we've got one left, and we're not really sure what to do, but we don't want something serious, we want something fun.
Yeah.
That's when Greg Schweb's name comes up. That's with the bureaus, okay?
Okay.
And then there's a lot of people and firms that specifically produce corporate events. That's all they do, and I get hired by them too.
Nice.
And a lot of it, though, is just word of mouth.
Okay.
And that's really, I think, what has allowed me to have the kind of career that I've had and the longevity that I've had is that people see me at an event, and then they would say, oh, we're going to have this event, and it's very similar, we like what you did. And really, any event planner will tell you that the sooner they can check off all the boxes, and if somebody comes in and says, hire this guy, he's funny, and if they say, oh, great, that's one less thing I have to worry about, they love that. So, so the networking, and I'm networking constantly.
Okay.
I'm always, and I love that. I love
Sure.
the challenge of it.
Yeah.
I'm always on LinkedIn, and I'm always just finding people and events that sort of fit my comedic style.
Now, because you're Chicago based, have you been doing a lot of traveling as
I
well?
have. Yeah, I have. I mean, it's great to be based in Chicago. It's very easy to get just about anywhere nonstop and so forth. So I would only say maybe about 10% of what I do is actually in Chicago.
Okay.
The rest is all over the country.
Okay.
And then once COVID lifted, I added something else. I added some cruise ships to my resume.
Oh, wow.
And so now and a lot, believe it or not, a lot of the book was written while I was performing on cruise ships because I had time. And I was traveling all over the world. So
Okay.
a lot of this book was written in other countries,
Got it.
sitting in cafes in Athens and Rome and so forth.
Wow.
And it's a really nice change. I mean, sometimes people will sort of look at it and say, "Oh, you do cruise ships? Okay, all right, that's really nice." But it's it's a total 180 from the corporate audience because the corporate audience is still kind of at work.
Yeah.
Sometimes I perform for people who are still technically at work,
Uh-huh.
and then you do a 180, and I'm performing for people who are on vacation. All right, and those are about as different of audiences as you can possibly get. But that's what I love. I love the variety.
That's hot. That's hot. Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
You hit the cruise ship. I thought about the Love Boat.
Oh yeah. The only bad part of cruises is you live with the audience. Okay, so you better have a good show if you want to leave your cabin for 14 days.
Beatrice got a weird question.
Okay.
Yeah, so Beatrice, of course, thank you for having a weird question. She said it was kind of additional weird question. She said, what is the weirdest, most unexpected corporate event you performed at?
The most unexpected one. Wow. I'm trying to think of a weird. I think the weirdest one maybe was a setting that I did. I mean, all corporate events kind of have a sameness to it. You know, they all kind of take place in a hotel ballroom or so forth. But there was one company. It was a pharmaceutical company that rented out a section of Universal Studios in Orlando. They rented out like a block of Universal, and included in this block was the Beetlejuice, stage, which is where they had their awards ceremony. And I was the MC for this because I do some MC work as well, as you do.
Yep.
And the big prop there was a chair that spins around. So it started with the chair was to the back, and then when the show started, they spun me around, and all of a sudden I'm just facing this audience that I had not seen at all, because they're like, you got to be in the chair like 15 minutes before, and I'm just sitting in this chair. Nobody's even walking into this event yet, so all I've seen is empty seats. And now you spin me around, and all of a sudden there's a full group of pharmaceutical reps, and I'm just supposed to start doing comedy, and they were a great audience, but I was like, that's a weird setup.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so thank you for the question.
Yeah,
That's what comes to mind right away.
And yeah, dear sis, we'll have another. We'll answer your other question, but she's actually saying, you're known as a business humorist.
Mm-hmm.
How do you strike the balance between being funny and staying appropriate for? We kind of talked about the corporate crowd in regards to knowing how to be able to be serious and also how to make sure we humor. So we kind of answered that question already without even looking at your question, Beatrice. So thank you for answering. Right. So thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking, and thank you for jumping onto the show 10 minutes into it.
We appreciate that. Everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Once again, you are here with none other than your boy Rico No Suave and my man Greg Schwem, the corporate comedian and the author, and many more things, everybody. We'll be back shortly.
Every year, 800,000 children are reported missing. That's one child every 40 seconds. It's every parent's worst nightmare. Right now, there are 483 missing children cases still open. Your card can help keep kids safe and bring missing kids home. Donate your unwanted card today. Fast, free pickup, 24-hour response. Plus, you'll get the maximum tax deduction.
Call 800-723-2013.
Feeling sluggish? Struggling with stubborn weight and visceral fat? It's time to reset with Fupa Water. Packed with powerhouse ingredients like spirulina, turmeric, and aloe vera, Fupa Water is your daily detox and hydration boost all in one. Flush out toxins, energize your body, and say goodbye to that stubborn belly fat. Ready to feel lighter and stronger? Get yours today at fupawater.com. And for a limited time, use code RNSS for the Rico No Suave Show and get an additional 10% off on your first order.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Your boy Rico No Suave. Hey, Greg, we having a good time, man.
We're having a great time,
We're having a great time, man. And I appreciate you being here, man. We down to our last few minutes of fame around here like we always do, right? So it's so cool to be able to talk about, you being an MC as well.
Sure.
And I understand as far as being an MC and how to make sure there are no dead moments.
Right, exactly.
Let's talk about the dead moments.
The dead moment. Yeah, oh yeah. It was going so well too, and then you had to bring that up. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about your worst show, Greg, since we've only got a few minutes left.
So I definitely want to talk about, because what happens is that, from me syncing up with DJs, right?
Right,
and that's
right.
my thing when I'm emceeing, or that's pretty much. If I'm emceeing or if I'm going through a timeline, have you ever been to a situation where you had to modify something at the last minute in order for it not to be dead air?
Oh, totally. But I think as a comedian, you always are, I don't want to say anticipating that, but it could happen.
Yeah.
There could be moments of silence where nothing's working or that joke didn't land or something like that. Yeah. And I just think how you get, I think this is definitely true in the corporate market, is people love to laugh at the fact that you're human
Yes.
and that you make mistakes every now and then. And, I always tell I've had to interview a lot of CEOs on stage, and they all want to rehearse. They all want to say, okay, well, what are you going to ask me? And let's go through this and so forth. And I always say, you know what? Let's do what I call rehearsal light,
Yes.
which means I'm going to just sort of tell you the topics I'm going to ask you about. But we're not going to do, I say this, then you say that,
Right.
then I say this,
Not
because
scripted.
that looks very forced.
Yes.
And I think that's the last thing that a corporate audience wants to see is they don't want to see the boss on stage looking rehearsed.
Right.
They want to see a boss that is fun and that is improvisational. And if we screw it up, I always tell them, I go, if we screw it up, we screw it up. We're human. Everybody's human. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much success you've had at the company. Everybody makes mistakes.
Exactly.
Well, let's roll with it.
Let's go.
And that's what eliminates the dead air.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Hey, and I think because let me see if so I think and Patty Escobar says, I'm sure he doesn't have a hard time getting content since corporate America and the way we work is a joke that rises.
Patty's had a rough day at the office, apparently. Particularly my supervisor. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the keys.
She is right, though.
Right on point.
She is right, though, in the fact that we don't have a hard time getting material. That is for sure. Thank you,
They
Patty.
have their own material
Yes.
that they give you. You know what I mean? We're like, listen, let me pull you to the side because this is gonna be something good for you to talk.
Right.
Not here,
Right.
but somewhere else. All right, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves as well too. We kind of touched a little bit in regards to corporate event planners that are looking for a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not every corporate event planner is the right corporate event planner to look for the right speaker.
Right, just like not every speaker is the right choice for every event.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to, let me say this right. I don't want y'all thinking that there's anything wrong with this. But have you ever interviewed the corporate event planner to make sure that you're the right fit for what they're asking for?
Not so much the event planner. I mean, I will ask them questions as to, what is, tell me a little bit about the event, tell me the size of the audience, tell me why they're there. My interrogation, I think, comes with the client himself. That's a bit of a strong word, isn't it? My interrogation, So normally I get them in a room and then I hook them up to wires and then I say, don't worry, this is right most of the time. No. My interview, I would say, with the client, it actually is very important. It's a serious part of my job because I want them to be comfortable.
Yep.
They hired me, but I think sometimes corporate event planners or people, the actual client, they hire a humor speaker and then they get nervous.
Yeah.
They thought it was a good idea at first, and they get nervous, and it's my job to make them not nervous and to let them. I want to say to them, trust the process. Yeah. Trust me. I've been doing this a long time, but I need your help too.
Yeah.
So we get on the phone. I get on a Zoom call with them. I want to know everything about their company. I want to know what is going to make their audience laugh. More importantly, I want to know what's not going to make them laugh. If there's anything serious, if there's been layoffs, if their stock price has tumbled 50%, I want to know that.
Yeah.
And it's just because I want to know the mood of the group when they come in. And if it's been a tough year and sales are down and the stock price is down, it's my job to lift them up.
Sure.
And it's my job to say, you know what? Next year's going to be better, and we can laugh at some of the problems we've had. If they've had a great year, it's then my job to say we got to keep that going.
Yeah.
Now, how are we going to do that?
We're
We're gonna keep it going by continuing to be loose and to not rest on our laurels and to find something else fun to do.
Yep.
And that's what I get in the interrogation.
I like that. I like that interrogation. And the reason why I ask that question because not every fit for an entertainer is right for a certain company.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's kind of the way of thinking. Now, I would say that it's kind of it can be personal in some cases to be able to say no, right? And then it can just be the right thing to do to say no so they can actually find the right person for them. Or I've been in a situation where someone says, yeah, you got to be careful about this one.
Yeah,
You gotta be
yeah,
careful
I have
about
too.
this one.
I have too. I have too. But I think also, and that goes back to the turning gut punches into punchline, which has become a new speech topic. I actually created a keynote presentation called "Turning Gut Punches into Punchlines," and it's not me up there again talking about how bad the last 2 years of my life have been, because they've actually not been bad, but they've had speed bumps in them. But if I can make people laugh and then I tell them a little bit about my journey, I don't start out with that. I lead into that.
I see.
And then all of a sudden, just like you want to humanize the CEO, if the comedian, that guy up there, can be like, oh, he's just like us. He has problems too.
Yep.
He has issues he has to deal with. But I think that's something I can definitely sense in an audience. Like, wow, we never would have thought that, because I think a lot of people just think comedians have been put on earth solely to entertain other people, and that every day of our life is hysterical, and that's all we do is just sit around and make fun of people all day long, and that is hardly it. And I am so enjoying this part of my life and being on stage and being able to convey that message.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Good for you, Grant Schwem. I like that, man. That is awesome, man. Hey, yes, I agree with Patty. Donald Reed says, I agree with Patty. Every office is not
right.
It's not in it.
I'm so glad when the chat room is all in agreement. You know.
You guys are awesome, man. Thank you guys so much, man. Thank you guys so much for actually being with us today. We having a great time, and of course, time fly by fast when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just not on our side, So thank you guys so much. Let's talk about one of the last topics that I think that's really interesting in regards to what you're doing when we're talking about you being a comedian and also an author. Now, you're saying that you're branching out in other areas of comedy besides focusing on corporate events.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other areas in regards to what you're going to.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because I have had this sort of late in life transformation a little bit, I am now reaching out to maybe active senior communities and so forth, and a lot of them are kind of at my stage in life too, and maybe they're slowing down. I don't consider myself to be slowing down, but are entering sort of the second chapter in their life, and they want to laugh at that. So I'm doing a lot of those kind of events. As I said, I added cruise ships. You know what, Rico? It's really, I feel so grateful that I've been given kind of a second chance to do this.
Right.
And a health scare will certainly do that to you or for you. And I always tell people who want to hire me, I always say, let's just figure out a way to make this work. Let's just figure out a way to make it happen, because I don't get any better sitting at home. I don't get any funnier sitting at home, and it's not as enjoyable to not be in front of an audience. So it's like I am less inclined to turn down dates now, because let's just do it, and let's get out, and I don't care who your audience is, I will make you laugh.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. Man, you are awesome, man. And when I say you're awesome, not because you're from Chicago, it's because you're also a comedian, but also it's because you make people laugh. Right? You make people laugh, and I think that you have expanded your mindset of being able to write a legendary book of you being in the industry for 32 years, which is a long time, man. And I have to say, being able to find that blueprint for yourself, but then also modify that blueprint to be able to know where you're going in certain areas, because number one, technology is changing. You talk about AI, right? Technology is changing, but us as humans are changing as well too. Before COVID, it was like, I'm going to focus on this one thing.
Right.
There was other people like us probably was thinking about, okay, I'm going to focus on two things. Now it's like, after COVID, we got to know ourselves, but now we're going to focus on 3 to 4 things because we didn't know what those talents were.
Right.
Right? But now I think what you're doing is always been doing is showing people how to laugh, but also understand as far as what other people are going through. Colon cancer is nothing to play with.
No.
And we thank God that you're still here with us today.
Thank you.
Which goes into the last piece because, of course, we got to get out of here. I gave you a shirt before.
Yes.
Yes. But I'm going to give you another one.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to give you another one is because normally when people call my show and say, listen, you got a shirt already. Why do you need another one, right? But this one also means a lot as far as to us because fighting cancer has always been a battle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For you, being a comedian and being able to understand the difference with knowing what you're going through and how to train yourself of not getting too low of self-esteem, but knowing that the doctors that you are in good hands and they even felt the great vibe to be able to make sure that you came out back alive and healthy.
Yeah.
Right? So because it's 32 years, we know that. Corporate events, we know that.
Yep.
But something personally that I love to be able to give this to you because of you as a survivor for colon cancer, but also knowing that you are continuously making other people happy. This is why you're continuously being the Rico No Suave Show.
All right, my man.
Let's
Thank you
go,
so
man.
much.
Let's
And
go.
yeah, and that book is for you, and I signed it the
Thank
way I
you.
signed to everybody.
Thank
I
you.
always inscribe it, and I say, keep living, keep laughing.
So you didn't say anything different because...
No.
No, okay. All right. Okay.
yeah. I had to do like 200 of those right before I came here. What do you think? I got time to personalize all of them? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you
Great
so
seeing
much,
you,
man.
Rico.
Great seeing you too. We're gonna give his social media, everybody. You already know Greg Schwem. Man, we appreciate him being here. Here is his Instagram, Greg Schwem. You already know. Make sure you go and follow him. Follow his journey. Here's the next one. Same thing. LinkedIn. You know what it's about. Business only. Don't spam them. Here we go. We got the next one.
Right.
We got Facebook. Now, you can spam him there, but tell him that you came from Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go and add and see if he'll add you back. Okay? Here's the next one, everybody. X, formerly known as Twitter. Yes. At Greg Schwem. Yes. Posting daily. Maybe weekly. TikTok, you already know everybody's on TikTok. So make sure you go and check out the great videos that he actually has to share. Make sure you go ahead and follow him, like everything he's doing. We're going to put back up as far as the Amazon, everybody, because I want everybody to know that go on Amazon, Turning Gut Punches into Punchlines. That's where you'll be able to find this book. So make sure you go and buy it, right? Go and buy it. I think just go and buy it. I'm not giving you no other options.
Right.
Make sure you go and buy it. Go ahead and support the journey. His legendary status is always alive. My man, once again, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure, man.
We got to get out of here like always.
All right.
Everybody, thank you guys so much. All right. Put your hands together for my man, Greg Schwem. Yes. Everybody, we got to get out of here, but we got to show you our social media, everyone, because, you know, we got it too. We got it too. Forget about it. It is www.riconosuaveshow.com. Make sure you go to our website. Show us some love there. Here is the next one. Yes, Rico No Suave Show on Facebook. Yes, make sure you go and like and love everything we're doing there. Here's the next one. Oh, yeah, it's Instagram. Yeah, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. It's very simple. All you got to do is just say follow. It's just that easy. We got another one. And, yes, this is a good one. Kaboom. Yes, on YouTube. Subscribe. Just go ahead and subscribe. It's just that easy. Last but not least, Mixcloud turns into audio, everyone. So make sure you go ahead and take the time and just ride through the car and, you know, listen to me and Greg just having a great time to talk about everything. Everybody, we got to get out of here, but thank you guys so much. I am your host, Rico No Suave Show, and hope you guys enjoyed yourself today. Thank you guys for sticking with us as far as to our technical difficulties, because we love you all. Everybody, until next time, as we end off the show, just lie there.